You ever have a moment when somebody looks you dead in the eye and decides, without a word, you just don't belong? I'll never forget the day that happened to me, walking into Lux Lane, the fanciest boutique in River City. I was feeling pretty good. Got my best blazer on, little knockoff purse I saved weeks for, thinking maybe this time I'd treat myself to something nice for once. But the second I stepped through those doors, I felt the temperature drop. The marble floors gleamed, the perfume in the air almost choked me, and every person in there looked right through me like I didn't exist. Except for the blonde saleswoman, Marissa. She sized me up like I'd tracked mud in on her perfect white carpet. I tried to keep my voice steady, told her I wanted to see their latest collection, but she didn't even bother hiding her smirk. "We cater to a very specific clientele here," she said, her tone so sugary sweet it almost made my teeth hurt. "You'd probably be more comfortable somewhere else." Yeah, that happened. I stood there, cheeks burning, listening to her basically say I wasn't good enough to be in that store, wasn't rich enough, wasn't the right kind of customer. I could feel people watching, waiting for me to make a scene, but I just said, I have every right to be here. This isn't okay. She leaned in close, voice dropping low. "Don't make me call security." That was my cue. I walked out, heart pounding, swearing to myself I'd never let anybody make me feel that small again. Back at my little apartment, I kicked off my shoes and let it all out. Tears, anger, frustration. My best friend Riley showed up not 5 minutes later, took one look at my face and said, "Don't you dare let them win. People like that, they want you to disappear, but you don't have to give them that." I wanted to believe her. I really did. Marcus from down the hall joined in. He'd heard the story and said straight up, "That's plain old discrimination. You gotta show them you're better than that." But all I could think about was the way Marissa had looked at me, like she already knew how my story ended. I made a decision right then. If nobody was ever going to give me a fair shot, I'd just have to make my own. I started working double shifts at the coffee shop, picked up classes at night, and landed a job at a small store, Trendy Treasures. My new boss, Mrs. Hargrove, was old school, tough but fair. "You remind me of me when I started out," she'd say, and it meant something coming from her. But man, I was exhausted, juggling jobs, classes, bills piling up, my old car dying every other week. It wasn't glamorous. Some days I could barely keep my eyes open, and my coworkers loved to remind me I didn't really belong. Heather, the one with the sharp tongue, told me, "You think you're gonna own a store one day? Not everyone's cut out for that." I'd just nod, keep my head down, and let her words fuel me. Then the universe decided to really test me. I got an eviction notice, caught the flu from running myself ragged, and started falling behind at work and school. I wanted to quit. Nobody would blame me if I did, but Riley wasn't having it. She showed up with soup, Marcus sent job leads, and Mrs. Hargrove pulled me aside one day and said, "If you want your own place, you gotta fight for it. Go apply for that business loan. Don't wait for perfect." So I scraped together every bit of courage I had, wrote up a plan, and marched into First River Bank. When Mr. Dixon handed me that approval letter, I thought I might faint right there. And the first thing I did with that loan? I called the owner of Lux Lane, the same boutique where I'd been kicked out, and made them an offer. Turns out, They were desperate to sell. Store was in shambles. Staff was unhappy. When I walked in and told Marissa I was the new owner, you should have seen her face. You? You're actually buying this place? I just smiled. That's right. Now, let's get started. Of course, it wasn't all happy endings. The old staff tried to make my life miserable, rolled their eyes, whispered behind my back, and Marissa straight up told me, "You're out of your depth. This isn't going to work." But I was done letting people like her define my world. I started changing things, added new styles, made sure we carried clothes for all sizes and budgets, put up signs welcoming everyone, not just the rich and famous. The backlash was fast. Bad reviews started pouring in, protests outside, and then I found out Victoria, the old owner's cousin, and some big-time critic, was running a smear campaign. Said my changes ruined the brand. Customers vanished, sales tanked, and I spent more nights than I care to admit staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd made a mistake. But here's the thing. Every time I thought about quitting, I pictured the look on Marissa's face that first day. And I kept going. Riley and Marcus rallied the community. We put together an epic fashion show. Real people, real stories, real style. Social media started buzzing. Bloggers showed up. And then an investigative reporter exposed Victoria's lies. The truth came out. Suddenly people wanted to shop at Lux Lane again, not because it was exclusive, but because it finally felt real. The day we broke our all-time sales record, I stood in the back room and cried. Not from exhaustion this time, but relief, pride, maybe even a little joy. Marissa quit, said she couldn't handle it, and honestly, I wished her well. She taught me something. Nobody gets to put me in a box unless I let them. So, here's my question for you. Have you ever been told you didn't belong or had to fight for your place when the world said you weren't good enough? Do you think people can really change the system, or is it always stacked against the underdogs? Let me know down in the comments. Share your story. Agree. Disagree. Whatever's on your mind. Because, at the end of the day, sometimes the best revenge is just proving them all wrong. Thanks for listening. And hey, don't let anyone tell you where you belong. You decide that for yourself.